on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, Christina, you're unmuted, just so you know. Let's see how this goes. I think I pushed the right button. All right, looks like we have some people tuned in here on Instagram. If someone can just give me a thumbs up on Instagram, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. That would be helpful. Hey, everybody on TikTok. All right, TikTok is always super active. I love you guys. Thank you so much. If you could give me a thumbs up there on, well, I see a whole bunch of activity on TikTok. So I'm going to assume you can hear me and see me all right. All right, and then here on YouTube, we have Jasmine. Hamlet says hello. Hi, Jasmine. Good to see you. And it looks like we have a few people tuned in here. Cody gave me a thumbs up. Thank you, Cody. All right, Sapphire Yanez. Sapphirions. Okay, hello. Oh, it's Cliche. Hey, Cliche. All right. Looks good. I am adulting tonight. I am producing this on my own. Not really. I didn't like set it up or anything. I'm not that advanced, but I am producing it technically on my own. So bear with me tonight. Should anything happen on any of the other platforms, there's no one here to come rescue me. Okay. So if there's a problem, it'll probably happen on Instagram or TikTok, possibly Facebook. Rarely do we have issues here on YouTube. So should something happen, I'm just going to have to let it go. And so switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. All right. For those of you who follow me on TikTok, you know, TikTok's always shutting me down. Tonight, I'm not talking about anything even borderline controversial. So it should be fine, but you never know how they're going to treat me on here. So, I would always say that if you follow me on TikTok, also follow me on YouTube at Ask Ivy. We're going to give this a second to let everybody tune in. I want to say thank you to my YouTube members. If you want to become a YouTube member, you can hit the join button on my channel to see the 3 different tiers. Thank you so much, my YouTube members. If you have questions, I'm going to be moving them up to the front of the line, like always. And your membership allows me to buy new equipment, which I recently had to do, to come up with new show ideas and to do pop-up lives like this with Christina, our astrologer, and bring you guys all kinds of new content. So I appreciate you so much. I'm going to say thank you to Masubi, Lisa Cece, Jill Marie, Stella Marie, Cody, Kat Bathory, Heather G, Yolanda Fisher, Mary, Jordan, Audra, Erica Trotter, Angie Johnson, Robin Hartling, Chicken Mama, Tristan Marion, Edgar Vlardes, Jennifer Cole, Deanna Altieri, Me Love 716, Andrea M, Jan Phillips, and Vanessa. And if I forgot anyone, I am sorry. I need to go in and get a new update on who my YouTube members are. Also, I just, again, because I'm producing on my own tonight, if you guys have questions or comments that you want me to include in with the live show today, because we do always take your questions and comments, I'm going to need you to post those on YouTube at Ask Ivy, okay? Because I can only watch 1 feed at a time. Technically, this is 3 feeds. So go there if you have a question. All right, Vanessa says, hi, Ivy and Christina. We have Mary Elizabeth, Kat. Okay, awesome. Looks good. A couple quick announcements. Maybe not. Okay. April 8th eclipse. I am going to be at Gray Cliff, Frank Lloyd Wright's beach property, and I'll be offering readings there all day. They were maxed out at 200 people. You have to get your tickets in advance for the eclipse. And then they added on like 100 more people. And I knew they do have a waiting list, and only those, I just want to clarify on this. If you were hoping to go there and just like get a private reading with me, I know normally you're allowed in and out of my events just to get a reading with me, but not this one. Okay. There's so much foot traffic here. If you're not from New York, you probably don't understand how they're sending in the National Guard. I mean, this is out of control. So you've got to get on that wait list. Okay. If you are attending that event, my pre-bookings are already up on their website. as well as mine. Afterward, we are doing the season reopening here at the 1882 Victorian Funeral Home, headquarters for the Ivy League Psychic Academy. So if you wanted to do the ghost hunt here for the season reopening for the public, that's at 9 o'clock. And if you wanted to do a self-guided historical tour, we're doing those from 7:30 to 8:30, I believe it is. And you could text my business phone to get your tickets. This place is on the Haunted History Trail of New York State, and they did just run some advertisements for it today if you want to learn more, or it's up on my website, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. Just a reminder that Christina Del Rey, her tarot class is up on the website. If you want to take this course, it's a combination of the intuitive method and the traditional method of using the cards. We also have her astrology class, the big three, your three basics, your sun, your moon, your rising, okay, to get you started on astrology. My psychic mediumship course is evergreen. However, I have opened it up to the public. If you want to register, it is going to be limited seating. I will be doing it live for the first time in a really long time in January of 2025. That just went up on the website. I need to refilm everything as well because it was during COVID and it's gross. We also have spiritual life coaching. We just finished week 2. So if you wanted to become a spiritual life coach through Roots Revival Interfaith, you could do the video download. You could do online with us or in person. It's a 6-week course, and we just finished week 2 last night, and the video download is now available. Okay, so it's not too late to jump in. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I know we have a lot to talk about. Christina, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good. And we'll just have you talk as loud as you possibly can. I'm going to move the mic as close to you as I can so that TikTok and Instagram can hear. So we are here with Christina Del Rey, our astrologer, and we are talking about the April 8th eclipse. What does it mean for you? We're going to break it down by each zodiac sign. She's going to go ahead and get into the astrology, and then I'm just going to give a quick, brief psychic mediumship message to each zodiac sign based on whatever spirit may be bringing up or I'm getting for you psychically. I did just want to hit on a couple questions, Christina, before we get started that people have been asking me over and over and over again. I have not brought these to your attention yet, so I just want to see what your reaction is here. And I don't know, maybe there is some validity to this. Okay, so the first most common question I'm being asked about this April 8th eclipse is, are we going to be able to see people who are possessed? Are we going to see their eyes turn entirely black and almost like their real selves will be revealed, or the demon inside them will be revealed?
I didn't plan on it. Did you?
I was hoping, but I already see that. So, you know, I'm good.
Interesting. I noticed that they closed Forest Lawn, you know, the cemetery. And I thought to myself, because they probably didn't want anybody like pretending there was a zombie apocalypse or something. Yep.
It's a big thing. So there you have it. Okay. Well, we are locally closing the cemeteries because we don't want people waiting around for the zombie apocalypse and to dig up the bodies and whatnot. No, Christina and I don't necessarily think that you're going to see those that are possessed. I will warn you, though, those that are possessed, you could see it not all the time, but when the possession comes to the forefront, it just happens naturally. So if you have been paying attention, it is all around you already.
Yeah, you can feel that usually.
Yeah, and you can feel it and you can smell it because they reek. So let's also get on to another super common question I've been having here. Are a bunch of us going to kick it? Are a bunch of us just going to die with this eclipse?
No. That would be a no.
Okay. And the last one is people want to know if there's going to be some major catastrophic, almost apocalyptic type of event that's going to happen internationally.
Internationally? No, not with this eclipse.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there'll be stuff that happens, but I don't think it's going to be like, you know. Anyway, this is what I think. So eclipses are really not that rare, you guys. Eclipses happen 2 weeks apart, every 6 months, every year. At least we usually get 4, but sometimes we get more. Like in COVID, I think we had like 6. But you know, they're normal because It's just normal. It's how the sun and moon line up. And they come in pairs, the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. And what you need to know is that lunar eclipses usually are more internal, but secrets tend to come out during lunar eclipses. Lunar eclipses tend to be endings, doorway closes. The solar eclipse is doorway opening usually. And with the solar eclipse is usually new beginnings. So now the fact that this solar eclipse we're going to see the totality here in Buffalo. I do think I think it's important. Wherever you see the totality, so the fact that the United States is in the totality means it's a really important eclipse for the United States. So new beginnings. I think it's a very powerful eclipse. It's in Aries. What do we know about Aries? Aries is passion, right? Impulsivity. It's the planet of action. And every year when we have these shifts, they're all about, moving us to the next level. And eclipses don't really bring you what you want, but what you need to move forward in life. Otherwise, everybody would just stay stuck. So that is really kind of the whole point of the eclipses from an astrological point of view. That's how they correlate anyway. So this one's at 19 degrees Aries. If you have any planets around that area, I would say within 3 degrees that you will really feel it. A couple of things to be aware of. Fake news. I had written that before you even asked those questions.
Mm-hmm.
I know people had said things like, I don't know, like they said that power grids were going to go out and stuff like that. Well,
right.
I did look at this eclipse, and Mercury is retrograde for the eclipse. So we can kind of pretty much guarantee that there's going to be some communication issues. So, we got to think like, phones, might be delayed. I don't know exactly, but probably with this eclipse, there will probably be some communication problems. I don't know about whole grids going down or anything like that, but I mean, it's never out of the realm of possibility, but it's probably not very likely. It's probably more so frustration. So expect, and this is funny too. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Expect being forced to reevaluate what you need. Eclipses tend to be reset buttons, especially a solar eclipse. So when your computer is on and it's acting kind of crazy, how you just have to unplug it, leave it alone for a few minutes, then plug it back in, and all of a sudden everything resets itself. So we as humanity, as a world, we need that as well. So when Mercury is retrograde, we tend to reevaluate what we need in a particular area. And because Aries is action, we are probably rethinking actions we have taken in the past and how we are going to change those actions and begin to move them forward. Well, maybe we do that every day, but this is going to be sort of a collective, and it's in each person's chart in a different way. So they might be rethinking different things. And this is really important because we have the solar eclipse, we have Chiron, and we have Mercury all standing together in the sky in one area. So the ruler of this eclipse is Mars, because Mars rules Aries. Well, Mars is standing with Saturn, almost exact. Somewhat of a rare combination. Definitely doesn't happen every day. And this happens to be energy that is sort of a stuck energy. Now it's a fast moving energy. So we're not gonna be stuck for long. But that day, I am going to imagine, or maybe that day and the next day, traffic's gonna be rough. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be hard to move out. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna have to be patient. Saturn, Mars together, it's kind of like trying to drive a car with square wheels, like you have to kind of, you really have to get it going. And it's not that it's not that you get stuck forever. It's just like you really have to strategize with this. So when you said like, and I don't watch too much news because I've been just doing charts and everything, but you said they're bringing in the National Guard. Oh,
We lost your visual.
okay, hold, sorry. So, you said the National Guard is coming, and this is like perfect. It's like soldier energy, the Saturn Mars. So I do feel safe with this eclipse. I am staying home for this eclipse, but I don't want to be out there stuck anywhere. But I don't think anything catastrophic is going to happen. Just a lot of frustration. Did you have any feelings on that?
Oh, I mean, I don't ever want to go anywhere. But I think a lot of that's just common sense, but yeah, I mean, it's going, there's no way to avoid that here.
Right.
Because it's happening here.
Right.
So I think that's a huge, part of it. Like wherever it's hitting, the line of totality is, I think that's what people can expect to have happen. But as far as anything major going on, no. And I honestly, this will be the first time I even, and that's really just because I'm working, attend an eclipse, or I'm like, I mean, I'll look at it. That's cool. If they hand me a pair of glasses, that's cool. You know what I mean? But I don't really feel a lot of anything. The only thing I really notice with the eclipses is the death, the transfer out with the old, in with the new. And I do. And as a medium, I see a huge, massive increase from pets to people who have been sort of teetering, so I do always expect an increase in business around that time. Other than that, yeah, I didn't feel anything particularly different about this one, but I think it's like you said, it's a combination of different things happening simultaneously. Like, for example, we also have Mercury in retrograde.
So it's almost like double stuck.
Yes.
We have the Mercury and then the Saturn, Mars, and the Mars is the ruled eclipse. So yeah, you might be stuck in one area of your life for a minute, like it's going to pass. Like Mars is a quick mover. It doesn't stay there that long. So, but I think it's important because we have to sort of reflect on the COVID era. We got stuck in COVID, right? Now we're not doing that again. I don't want to make anybody paranoid.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. That was the last time we had one.
Right. And
that was the last time we had this, was during COVID. So this is also why it's carrying a bigger energy, because that was a time of severe entrapment.
Well, yeah. And like, that's true. Like we were stuck in the house and all that stuff. But like we said, eclipses are very normal, but this is more, and I think like, we need to talk about like COVID was, we all had to stop and reevaluate our lives. Like we were just getting way off track. And, that was one of the reasons for COVID. So, we're kind of, the universe kind of just putting us in that for a moment, because they want to give us a reset. It wants to give us a reset on our life. They want to level us up. It wants to level up humanity. And these are the portals that we go through to do that. So, and what you need to think about while you're watching the eclipse, like I will watch it. From what I understand, it's a very amazing thing because we get the totality. So we get darkness in the middle of the day, which is awesome. And we get to, and I would just pay attention. How do you feel? How are the animals reacting around you? Because it's not just you that is affected, right? Every creature, every living creature. And we need to teach our children that too. Pay attention to what's going on. What feelings are you getting? And maybe nothing. Maybe we're just making space for what's coming in. And I really do feel like that is what the holdup is going to be. That's what the delay is, or whatever, is that we're making space for what is coming and what we're going to do. Because the eclipse, I wouldn't say things magically happen on an eclipse, but it's almost like the seed. You don't see the sprouting of the seed until it's reached, you don't see it. It just is there. You know what I mean? So where between it bursting and us seeing it, that's the place you're in when you're stuck. So it's almost like you have to kind of, you're gearing yourself up. You're making space for what's about to come in. And Aries is that burst forth action. It's that first bud of spring. It's the force that we can't see. And it takes a lot of energy, right? It's a lot of energy to burst that first bud, or that first leaf, or whatever's, That's a lot of energy, and we don't see that energy. We don't know what controls that energy. I mean, we think we know but the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, but that has to you have to make space for that. Aries can be very impulsive. The downside of Aries is impulsivity, taking dangerous risks, sometimes just being too forward, too much, maybe. Be careful with this energy that you are. And I think that's why Saturn, Mars, and Mercury retrograde are there, because it doesn't want you to act impulsively. Whatever you start, it wants to be a long finish. Saturn there is kind of telling us that. So this is why April has, and that's another reason too, Aries is a very impulsive energy. If you are not a woke person, with often high school kids, you'll notice there's a lot of shootings, and there's school shootings. There's a lot of, things like that in April in general. And April tends to be eclipse time. So yeah, like the negative side of this energy can be impulsivity or people getting out of control. But I don't expect that too much for this eclipse, but April is packed with crazy astrology. It's an active month. Take advantage of the astrology. This is very exciting. And this, I really do feel like we are, on the cusp of a woman's movement. I feel like that's getting very strong. I feel like these eclipses are kind of putting the portal to that. And I also feel like this Saturn Mars in some way, because Saturn's patriarchy, and I don't know if it halts it. I'm not exactly sure, but I just feel like it almost like makes it hard to move. And then new beginnings can kind of rush in. Any thoughts on that before I get
I'm just noticing, I almost feel like the last month for me, things have been revving up. And it's like new opportunities, getting these phone calls. I came up with this project. I'm thinking this project needs to be launched. Then the networking is picking up. And then someone, like a lot of synchronicity and a lot of different, partnership things getting going. And then it's like, let's go, and nothing. And it's not a reversal. It just is a postponement. And I'm like, there's nothing more for me to do. I'm just going to wait it out. And so I feel like this is going to be that breaking point. Like you said, that bud forward, that burst forward, that first bud of spring or whatever. It's like once it explodes, it's going to be like pop, 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 like everything,
Exactly. And if this is touching planets for you, then or chart points, then this is going to be extremely important for you. Oh, this is another thing too. This same eclipse, the exact degree, didn't have Mercury retrograde though, but this eclipse was April 8th, 2005. So if you can picture back to what you were doing then, I think this was right before I got pregnant with my first child, but yeah, the themes are there. You know what I mean? Like it's similar. It's whatever happened then, it'll be similar themes, but deeper.
Okay, so April 8th, 2005 is the last time. It's a continuation of those themes.
Yeah, but it's going to play out differently, obviously. Okay. But it's fun to kind of look back and be like, what was I doing? Okay, so should we just get into the signs then?
Well, I do want to just address everybody now that everyone appears to be here. I do want to ask everyone, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, drop a comment of any kind. It helps me out in the algorithm. Donations are appreciated, not required. And we have some questions. Bethany Renner says, April 8th is my 44th birthday. Happy birthday, Bethany. So she said, this is really helpful. Kat wants to know, do you have to be a member in order to ask questions? Absolutely not. However, I was explaining earlier in the show, if you guys have a question or specific comment you would like for us to address or showcase, I'm going to need you to put that in through YouTube at Ask Ivy instead of like Instagram or TikTok, because I'm producing today, so I can only watch this one feed. All right, so get over to YouTube at Ask Ivy if you plan to be like interactive. Hi, Laura. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break down each zodiac sign. Christina, you go first. I'll just give again like one psychic mediumship quick statement at the end, and we'll just keep going.
Okay, awesome. So Aries,
Aries.
we have the solar eclipse in your sign, so which is kind of awesome. Brand new beginnings for you. So really pay attention. This is not the time to be impulsive, but have faith in your actions, but don't be impulsive about them. You want to be strategic. And the karmic wheel is kind of turning here because Saturn's with Mars in your 12th house. So think about like your subconscious thoughts. What in your subconscious thoughts or your relationship with spirit could be holding you back right now? What do you need to do to get kind of right with your subconscious, or like your maybe even your faith, because you're going to need a lot of faith to for these new beginnings, the new you. If you are an Aries, especially if it's your birthday, this is going to carry you all year long. This is the first burst, and whatever you're working on, like that's going to carry through the rest of the year and probably for years to come as well. So you don't want to take it lightly. You don't want to overthink it, but you want to pay attention to the signs that are coming. What am I supposed to do? Where am I going here? And you'll start to feel the pulse. You'll start to feel it. Yeah, that's what I have for them.
Okay, love it. So the symbol I'm getting for Aries is almost like a bow tie around your neck that's getting tightened. And while it felt like you tightened it, I also feel like you maybe regret it, or you want to take it off, you want to loosen it a little bit, and you seem to be annoyed. So I think this signifies a couple different things. First of all, your throat chakra. Okay, when we're talking about a closed throat chakra or potential closed throat chakra, we're talking about you either A, not speaking your truth, or B, you are speaking your truth and it's being disrespected, it's being neglected, you're being denied in some way. So you may find that around this, eclipse time, what you're supposed to be focusing on is coming with a more professional presentation. You may be also focused on speaking in a more polished, direct way, a more sophisticated approach to your communications than what you've had in the past. But I also think it's really important that you don't keep anything in, or if it were to not work, you don't allow that to create a closed throat chakra for you. So I want to explain it this way. Should you ever speak your truth, and it is disrespected, disregarded, you have to set boundaries. Sometimes that means walking away, but I think you're going to be figuring out a lot about presentation, communication, higher level of professionalism. There's a lot happening there.
Yeah. And and I would say, definitely rethinking how you communicate, because sometimes, Aries has a tendency to be over aggressive. So you just want to monitor that as well. But you need to be aggressive too. So balance it out. Taurus. So Taurus is really kind of going to go on like a spiritual journey with their thoughts, like looking at what their subconscious thoughts are, because they're making space. They're soul searching and they're making space. They're kind of in the chrysalis waiting to be born. There's a lot going on for Taurus. So they're really like, they're going to level up, and they're going to have like a new beginning in a spiritual way. They need to really kind of retreat, sort of get connected with the earth. Taurus is all about the earth. So, I know it's cold here, but even like, if you can just stand outside with your feet on the ground, or, get earthly some way, be outside, be on the concrete, like just kind of get with that earth energy, because you really need to kind of prepare for what's coming. Subconscious. And, just think about it like you're getting ready to be born. I'm sure you can kind of feel it. Make sure you monitor those subconscious thoughts.
Okay. So what I'm getting for Taurus is almost like a symbol of you making toast, and this could be symbolic of like comfort food for a lot of you. I don't know, but there's almost this sense of like, I want to make toast. It's something familiar, it's something simple, it's something you can have with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a hot chocolate. You feel good about it. It sort of brings you back down to earth. It's funny you kept saying rooted and grounded. It's like maybe I do know Tauruses love their food, but maybe something like that is a way for you to get rooted and grounded, like comfort food with this toast. But the idea is like you have the toast around this eclipse time, and you have to figure out what you want to do with it. You don't have much time. You don't have a lot of time to put butter on the toast. It's almost like, look, if I don't do this immediately, I don't get butter. Okay, there's no time to like debate or like, well, I forgot to take it out of the fridge and now it's not going to spread anyways. It's almost like you need to pre-plan. I also think you need to be examining, do you want to put like cinnamon sugar on this? Do you want to put jam on this? What flavor jam? If you're going to put jelly on it, what are you doing? So it gives me this feel of like the world is your oyster, but it may be causing for you to feel nervous. Sometimes that can almost feel like a threat, or like the other shoe's going to fall. And it's knowing that there's like, the winds of change or something is coming in. And while that can make us like a chihuahua, you may really just want to embrace it and be like, I don't even need toast, but if I want to have some toast, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. I'm going to prepare ahead of time, and I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to like maximize this experience and really be in it instead of just sort of like being like subconscious and avoiding.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And it, connect with spirit. And I feel like they might be a little stuck in their friend area or their future goals, like setting their future goals, or even their acquaintances and the groups they belong to. They might feel a little stuck there, like something has to change. So pay attention to that.
Yeah, don't be afraid to do renewal with friendships, and sometimes there's a period of time to be alone in between, and that's okay. It's like, you're enough. There's no reason to fear that. Okay. It's always you in the beginning. It's you in the end. It's always just you anyways. Okay. Everything else is come and go.
Go within.
Okay. We want to move on to Gemini. I do just want to answer a question here. Heather G is saying, I felt very agitated this week, then tearful today. Okay. And I have no energy. I'm a Pisces. Is this eclipse energy coming in? So Heather wants to know why she's feeling agitated and crying.
Well, there was a lunar eclipse on Monday. So that's probably what that was.
The lunar eclipse on Monday did that to you.
Very emotional.
Lunar eclipse. Okay, we're going to move on to Gemini.
Gemini. So it happens in your 11th house. So this is what I'm thinking, that you are readjusting your goals, readjusting how what you thought maybe your life would look like. You're kind of beginning a new set of goals or a new set of dreams, readjusting them. And also friends and acquaintances too, those are up for new beginnings as well, or rethinking them, rethinking possibly even how you present yourself to the public. This has to do with internet and getting out there on the internet. So these are all things that you could be contemplating right now. That's where your new beginning is. Like I said, the Saturn Mars is in the 10th house. So you might feel a little stagnant at work. That's kind of just what you were saying, right? Like with your career, there might be like a little halt there because you're supposed to be rethinking these, these themes of where am I going? What am I doing? And I need to readjust what I thought was going to happen into what, needs to happen now. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, as a Gemini cusp sun, Gemini moon, Gemini Venus, Gemini this, Gemini that, I'm definitely feeling that one. And I think that the image I'm getting for my fellow Geminis is of a chess game. And this idea of making almost like a lateral move and knocking out some opponents. And that may be enough to get things going. So I do wonder if something has to be jolted, if you have to sort of outsmart a system, or if you have to get out of your own way, if there's some type of a block or an obstacle that really isn't much of a threat, like it almost looks like a pawn. But, there may be some detoxing that has to go along with this movement forward before it can really take hold.
Good point. Cancer.
Cancers.
Okay, so Cancer, kind of important for Cancer because it's happening in the 10th house. So this, is status, reputation, career, and also legacy too. So how you're known to the world. This is a new beginning. Career-wise, this would be really quite good for Cancers. But again, we have the Mercury retrograde, so no movement quite yet. This is more of a making space moment. Like you said, strategize. Saturn Mars is in the 9th house. So this has to do with broadcasting, maybe some tech issues there. It could be that you're stuck in a legal matter. Doesn't have any movement. It could be that you are kind of stuck in an educational setting as well. Something's just not quite moving how you need it to. And somehow it's related to this new beginning in your reputation or career house. So, stay open, be rethinking exactly what you want, how you're going to achieve these goals. But there's, whatever you start now, that's going to last for a long time. So what are you getting for Cancer?
The image I'm getting for Cancer here is like laying in a bed, just sort of wanting to take a nap or sleep it away and like not address things. This can symbolize exhaustion or burnout, but also an understanding of when to push and when to release, when to take charge and when to say, let go, let the universe, let go, let God. Knowing how it's like a dance, any kind of major change in the universe is sort of like a dance. You have to know, when it's time to lead, when it's time to follow, when it's time to dip, when it's time to flow, when it's time to, the beat picks up, slows back down. If you're not in it, you just feel frustrated the entire time. And so if the image I'm getting is that like, it's not inappropriate for you to be like sort of taking a nap and snoozing through a lot of this. But you also don't want to do it excessively.
Oh my God. It's funny that you said that because I'm Cancer rising and I have 3 placements in Cancer and I have been sleeping like crazy.
Yeah. And, I'm a Cancer sun cusp and like I have 2. I cannot wake up.
I cannot wake up.
Like 10 hours and I wake up exhausted. It's like I work for 2 hours. I'm exhausted. I don't know.
Well, this is squaring Cancer. So
that's why, you guys.
Yeah. So it's almost like we have obstacles to overcome until, we get that new beginning. So yeah, just staying awake has been tough.
Staying awake, is the battle every day.
I took a nap before this. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
let's move on to Leo.
Leo. All right. So my fellow Leos, this is in the 9th house for us. So new beginnings, rethinking, and a higher education matter. If you work in a higher education area, might be, time to make a move. If you have a legal matter, it might just be delayed for a little bit, but there's a new beginning on it. Could be a new philosophy spiritually too. This is really the house of where you try to find where you fit in the world. So we're sort of trying to find where we fit. And we are kind of blocked momentarily by maybe our psyche, maybe traumas that had happened, maybe deep psychological stuff that, we kind of have to move past. We kind of have to move, like I said, like it's kind of like pushing a cart with square wheels. We have to push it extra hard. We have to get out of that rut. And I think that's what this is trying to make us sort of get into a rut so that we have to be aware we're in a rut and then try to get out of the rut. So, but definitely broadcasting this can be too. So we could be broadcasting messages on the internet or just teaching in general, being up in front of a crowd. And like we said, the new beginnings that are starting, obviously, like, that the eclipse day doesn't have to be anything significant. It's the making space for it. It's for what's to come.
So what I'm getting for Leo is, what do we call these medals? Okay. Like if you were to win like a gold medal okay, at the Olympics or something like this, you're essentially earning a medal. And what this can signify is, first of all, congratulations. So some major leveling up in some, one of these areas that Christina was talking about, but enough so that it allows you to be seen and heard. And so this is when you go from a place of feeling self-empowered to actually having power out in the world. And the idea of you being seen and heard does seem directly to correlate with communication. So your communication can level you up, or being offered something where you can communicate more and be leveled up again even. And there's question here of, what do you want to do with it? So the image that Spirit had given me was like, here's this medal. What are you going to do with it? Right. And I think of people at the Olympics who win this medal, and it's like, there's a lot of responsibility with that. You win a medal. Now all eyes are on you. How are you going to use your fame, your fortune, your influence, to do good out into the world, and to use it as leverage to level your own self up continuously, so it has a nice trajectory with it. You just have to make sure you use it.
Yeah, I think I'm so there right now, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, sitting here, okay, what am I going to do? What's my next move, and kind of not really knowing what, so very interesting. Okay. Virgo, new beginnings on intimacy, or it could be intimacy. This could be deep sex, sharing. You could be sharing maybe an apartment with somebody. You could be beginning a new, life with somebody there, or thinking about doing that. This is like intimacy, very deep intimacy, sharing something with somebody. So if it is not that, if that is nothing, and if that is not happening in your life right now, it's probably you revamping your money, your investments, your savings. Am I really saving enough money? What do I need to do here? This is a new beginning. This is your message to go, see about CDs, or, maybe 401k is not the way to go. Maybe you need to, more safe, I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but
I'm acting like I know
with investments. But like you have to really, any royalties you get, any inheritances, anything like that, you want to do you want a new beginning. You want to rearrange that. Not now while Mercury's in retrograde, but you're thinking about doing that. Also, actually, Mercury retrograde would probably be okay to do that, because you're just, as long as you're redoing and you're not doing it for the first time. Saturn Mars is in the relationship house. So this can be business partnerships or romantic partnerships. So there might be a little stuck energy there, just because you have to figure out, okay, is this what I want? Do I want this person? Do I want to be that intimate with them and share a life with them like that, or not? And the or not might be a thing. So it's kind of like at a crossroads here between intimacy and partnership. And if this is not romantic, this would be money and business partnership, or maybe even friendship. But you have to, and money and friendship probably do not mix at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been saying this to Virgo for a year and a half. So this may be the final push, you guys. I mean, if you've been looking at that relationship stuff, and you've been looking at that job change potentially and what needs to move, this may be the shove that you need. Again, that's the eclipse. That's the universe's way of, I think of that meme, that hilarious meme where the guy's standing at the edge of the mountain and the universe is like, boop, but also I catch you right here. But that's not the symbol I was getting. What I was actually getting was pirates watching you dig through a treasure chest. So let's break that weirdo activity down here. So what I'm seeing is you essentially on the beach looking out at the ocean, which suggests because it's clear waters, emotional stability, mental stability, being in a place of safety, but definitely new beginnings. This can mean washing away of the old, whether you intended to or not. So while, we're talking a lot about the decisions you're about to make in a relationship or, with your work, it could also just sort of happen. And, there are a lot of hands in the pot. But I think you're feeling secure about it. And the feeling I got was, wow, this is an adventure. This is a brand new beginning. It is a brand new start in life for you, or at least feeling like a brand new chapter in a pretty significant way. I also feel like this is a significant chapter in the book that is you. And so if we were to say the rest of your life is kind of like, yes, these are some big changes here and there, but this is a big one. This sets the tone for maybe the next 20, 25 plus years for you. So when you open up this treasure chest, it's like you're pulling out something that's really quite sacred to you. You've been wanting it for a long time. I don't know that it's a huge shock. It's been available, but you're taking it. And I see all these pirates sort of like, almost like your guides, with their eye patches and whatnot, like smiling you on, the crazy bird on their shoulder, like everyone's just happy for you. It's like the universe is ready, or happy for you that you're finally ready to go in and take it, because it really is up to you to go get it.
Yeah. And not to settle too. I think it's important to understand that when you're starting something new, there's a certain amount of faith that you have to have. So maybe focusing on that,
Moving forward in blind faith. Big reminder here for everyone, real quick, wherever you're tuning in, if you could switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy, that would be great, because that's where I can see you in the comments section. And if you have any questions, I can take them. But I'm producing tonight. So, okay, it's a lot of adulting for me. I can only take this comment section right here. But wherever you guys are, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, if you could give this video a thumbs up at this time and drop a comment of any kind, it helps me out in the algorithm. We also have Cat Bathory says, I have felt super heavy the past few days after feeling like I was on top of the world. I'm a Leo sun and rising in a Cancer moon. Anything you could tell me about what's going on? Well, I think we covered it with the Cancer. We were talking about that dip in energy level that may continue on for a while.
Yeah, like it was the lunar eclipses are very internal too. So it's like, it's very emotional. Like sometimes you can't even put your finger on what's so upsetting, because there's so many emotions along with it. So I'm going to guess at something. I don't know. I'm not looking at your chart. I can't see your chart. But I'm going to assume that that's probably it. And then, you do have a new beginning coming up. She's a Leo sun, right? Yeah. And and rising. Okay. This is actually supposed to be Cancer moon though. Yeah. Cause it's going to square your Cancer moon. So that's probably what she's talking about.
You're talking about the lunar eclipse that just happened. That was
no, this one that's coming up. Well, both of them probably, but
okay.
But the one that's coming up, she's feeling right now, but I think it's going to be more hopeful for her. But there might be obstacles.
But you guys feeling emotional, I think that's something important. I don't really remember if we touched on that or not. And I think we have to respect, because our society does not, the amount of energy that going through something emotional consumes.
Right. 100%.
You got to take care of yourself. You got to protect yourself. In a capitalistic society, I mean, that is a big no-no to ever admit to any of that or to take time off for that. We really need to right now. And we have Jennifer.
I would get a lot of sleep too, because sleep makes space, and that's probably why we're sleeping a lot too.
Okay. Jennifer, thank you so much for the compliment. She said, Ivy, you look great. And then she said anything on Geminis. We just covered Geminis. So if you guys are tuning in a little bit late, this is going to get published and you can go back and watch it and replay. And then Yolanda Fisher said, woo, I was concerned for a minute. Not sure exactly what she's referring to there. And then Kat says, yeah, definitely an emotional time. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to, what are we on? Libra?
Okay. So for Libra, it's going to happen in the 7th house. I'm kind of excited for Libra because a lot of Libras are in new relationships. So, if you're not, this is a good time maybe to get out there. But this might be a little more serious partnership. Maybe you've been seeing someone and this might be a new beginning within that cycle. This can also be new beginnings with business partnerships as well. Just rethinking how to communicate, maybe a new cycle on how you're going to communicate together. Also, where you might feel stuck is at work or with your health. So you need to watch that. You need to rethink how, if you're going to, I don't know, if you are with a partner, if something new is beginning, then maybe, you both can start a new diet, or you can exercise together or something. But I would try to connect these two things. If you're spending your day with your partner, try to make it so that, you're healthier. I'm trying to think how this could play out. But new beginnings in relationships, particularly long-term relationships, maybe some Libras are getting engaged, who knows? But this is going to set a whole new cycle for you.
Love it. All right. So Libras, what I'm seeing for you is almost like an hors d'oeuvre tray coming your way. And it almost looked like some of the crackers were bare and others had like salmon or, I don't know, something really delicious on there. And, you were deciding on which you wanted to eat. And it seems obvious when hearing this. Well, of course, go for the one with a great topping. But there's something very nitpicky about that. Like, I don't know, maybe it's salmon, but it has a caper and I hate capers. Whatever it is. It's like you seem like a deer in the headlights a little bit. And it's like you're looking and you're not sure maybe you're going to eat anything. But I feel that this is a time for you to go out and be social. There are all these images here of interacting with other people and networking and having deep discussions regardless of what choices it is that you're making sort of in your personal life. And I think that sometimes humans are the mouthpiece for God. Sometimes we're looking for numbers and animal totems and prophetic dreams, and we're waiting for grandma to come through in spirit and give us a sign, or we're waiting for our higher mind to tell us, or we look at our astrology and we get readings. And it's really just through the interaction with others that, someone says, maybe the waiter holding the tray of hors d'oeuvres for you says something, so random, but perfectly synchronistic to what you need to hear, that it's a moment of enlightenment for you. And you just choose to kind of go with your gut. You go with your instinct, you go with what is in your bones for you to do next. And it seems like you may have to be doing some of that. We were talking earlier to another sign, I don't remember who it was, but about making some moves in blind faith. Was that Taurus?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I would say that, if you're not in a relationship, make space for one. Or, if you want a business partnership, make space for one. But Libras in general, they have had quite the year because the eclipses are, on their axis. So the last eclipse we had on Monday was in Libra, by the way. So still probably reeling from that. Scorpio?
Scorpios.
Okay. So Scorpio, new beginning in health or your daily routine or your work. So start you're going to be rethinking all those things: health, wellness, daily routine, your work routine. So it's time for new beginnings. It's time for that burst forward. So you need to start walking, or you need to start, whatever it is that you're not doing, you got to change it. Where do you feel stuck? Oh, you might feel stuck with kids. You might feel stuck with your romantic partner. You might feel stuck like you're not having any fun. These are all things that are possible right now, but, reflect, make a plan for your daily routine, make a plan. How are you going to bring in more happiness and healing? I mean, Chiron is with this eclipse, which, does denote healing. So where can you bring in more healing in that area?
Interesting. So what I'm seeing for Scorpio is a car, and it looks like a red sports car, which is symbolic of power. Getting behind the wheel of the car is self-empowerment and movement forward. It's taking control of things where maybe you didn't have control or mobility or a sense of confidence with empowerment before. But no sooner do you get in this car, you have to go backward, which can signify that there's some unresolved stuff from your past that you need to deal with. I call these pivotal points. So whether this is in relationships, conversations, old work that's unfinished. I like to say it's skeletons in the closet, unfinished business, stuff swept under the carpet, things put up on a shelf collecting dust. This is going to come to a head once this stuff is dealt with one way or another, because the universe is forcing it. So the deadline's up. I mean, you don't really have a choice. It's going to happen. Once you decide what you're going to do with that part is up to your free will. You could find yourself moving on rather quickly in some sort of wide open territory, meaning, you can bring a lot of new circumstances and relationships into your life. But Christina, it blew my mind when you said kids, because I was writing parents as you were saying kids. And so there also seems to be some type of relationship dynamic here where you're kind of looking back at the roots of your parents and any deprogramming that you need to do and how they've influenced your concept of self and stuff like this. So this may be a good time for therapy or, help you to process and to eliminate any conditioning that you simply don't care for and that you see yourself portraying in your current relationships, based on those foundational relationships. And essentially you're saying no one is an extension of me, nor am I an extension of anyone else. I am my own independent person and I'm going to go my own way. This is pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, I could see mental health being in there too. So definitely love it.
It's hard to let go of that.
It is. And
it's bigger than shadow work. This is the real big stuff.
Yeah. But Scorpios, they're experts at shadow work. So
what you do. Mm-hmm. All right, Sagittarius.
So we have a new beginning in the romance house. So I don't know if you are in a relationship or not, but maybe you are getting more romantic. Maybe you are rethinking a relationship. Maybe you're thinking, maybe you're going to start a new beginning within that relationship. This could also be children. There could be a new beginning there. Maybe you're thinking about having children, or you are starting a new beginning. Maybe one of your children have a new beginning starting for them. It could also be a creative project, or even like money that you earn from a side hustle. Usually fifth house is some kind of performance. So if you're a Sagittarius, there's some kind of new performance maybe that you are thinking about doing. Where might you be stuck? Saturn Mars is in your fourth house. So a couple of things it could be your family. It could be your actual home. It could also be your roots, though. Maybe like some psychological stuff about, where you come from, or, how your lineage of some kind. Maybe that's interfering in how you're thinking or in your actions. Maybe it's stopping you and you're not sure why. So you have to sort of, you're kind of reevaluating as far as like, am I going to listen to my family, or am I going to let that interfere with my romance or my children or my creative projects? So something there might be going on. What are you getting?
Interesting. I'm seeing recognition for a past project, or maybe something you created that never had its day in the sun. This could be taking something down off a shelf that was like sitting there collecting dust, and you were like, well, I invested quite a lot into that. I'm kind of shocked. It never went anywhere, and now it does. And you're just like, what? Why now? Well, this is why now. Also, there's this sense of it renewing hope. So sometimes when something like that happens, it's almost like we become childlike. We have this passion and this zest, this fire in the belly for life renewed, that had sort of just phased out because it was like stuff wasn't moving. There's also this sense here of you coming out. So I don't know, maybe a bunch of you come out of the closet or something like that. Okay, we love you. That's awesome. I love that. But it also felt like, if it's not something like that, maybe you're starting something new. Maybe you are picking up that guitar and you're going to go play in the clubs, or you're going to create that artwork, or you're going to write that book, or you're going to publish, you're going to launch that business, you're going to get into entrepreneurship, you're going to go for that degree, whatever it is. It felt like some new launch, almost like this is the new me, and it really affects reputation significantly. Like when I think of somebody coming out of the closet, for example, and that could be literal too, of course, but it's sort of like, that's the moment. I mean, that's your rebirth, so it's not just about what you're doing. It's also how you're going to be seen and received, and start interacting with the world in a very different way. It's pretty dynamic.
It's pretty hopeful. What did you say? You said the past, and the fourth house is definitely the past. And you also said Mercury retrograde is usually an indicator, especially when it's got so much energy around it, of a past opportunity possibly coming back. So, but this would probably be some kind of performance, or like I said, thinking about having children, family, that kind of thing. maybe not wanting to, maybe even not wanting to, you know, raise your own children the way that you were raised or something like that.
Interesting.
All right. Anyway, Capricorn.
Capricorns.
So Capricorns, Pluto just left your sign, so they've been pretty happy about that. But this solar eclipse for you is in the 4th house of home and family roots. This tends to be a place, and this can be a new beginning where you're going to go buy a home or get a home, or you're doing something within your home, but also could just be, you kind of exploring your lineage and kind of like the psychological stuff too, maybe from your lineage. Somehow home and family is going to figure into this, maybe thoughts, maybe you're rethinking about thoughts that your family taught you, and you're like, well, those don't serve me anymore. Or maybe how you thought about, family before, you want to think of it in a completely new way now. But anything with homes could be, very beneficial healing right now. Deep psychological stuff passed through the family curses, or like family karma, basically. That might be something that it's kind of going through your mind right now. And maybe how you're raising your own children as opposed to that, or, but thoughts are going on. Where might you be stuck? You might be stuck in your thought patterns. Also, I would say, like, siblings, cousins, neighbors might, I don't know, kind of do, maybe make you feel stuck, at least for a moment anyway. What are you getting for Capricorn?
We just lost TikTok, because even when I'm not saying something controversial, TikTok likes to just punish me. I tell you guys all the time, right? TikTok hates me. So if you're on there, I appreciate that I was able to grow the account as big as I did, but they've been punishing me for 2 years. So please switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. So we lost them, but I'm not shocked. What I'm getting for Capricorn, what I saw was a change in your diet. Now, you changing the way you eat. It was almost like Capricorns, you're looking at all your old food and you're being like, I don't want any of that anymore. And it's almost like distaste. Something left a bad taste in your mouth for sure. And sometimes when you've either consumed too much of one thing, or you consume it and it's like, I don't know, you got food poisoning or one bad incident. TikTok's back. Goodbye. They're gone again. I warned you guys. So anyways, there's this sense of like, I don't want any more of this. And I want all these other foods, and these other foods look like fresh. We got like watermelon, we got fresh fruit, we've got raspberries and blackberries and blueberries, and like, what do you want to do? And this is symbolic of prosperity with all the fruit, but it's also symbolic of healing your body based on what you consume. So it's healing your mind, body, and soul based on who you spend time with, what you mentally consume, whether or not you take care of your emotional state, your well-being, and then, yes, the body element, the literal physical food and things like this. There's a lot of switching up going on there, but there's also this sense of venturing out almost like a baby. I don't know if you guys watched the movie Poor Things. Did you see this, Christina?
No.
I'm obsessed. Okay. I wanted to see this in the theater. I ran out of time. I bought it. It's amazing. I love it. And it reminds me of Poor Things. The main character in that movie, Bella, is essentially, a grown woman who had a baby's brain put in her. I'm not going to break it down, but anyhow, that's you right now. And I think it has a lot to do with Pluto just leaving your sign. Can you just real quick, Christina, explain to Capricorns and any other signs that just had Pluto leave, how long that went on for and what that means for them?
Pluto was in there for 18 years. So now it's moved into their 2nd house, but it'll go back in for like 2 months at the end of the year. But pretty much brand new, death and rebirth, brand new transformation of their 2nd house, which has to do with money they earn through their job, and their material things, and their self-worth. or their self-esteem. So those things are going through a transition, but your body now should be like, because I know Capricorns with Pluto in the first house were not having the best time health-wise, but they should be feeling better with, you know, with their body, their health. It's just easier when Pluto's not in your sign.
18
So now
years
it's an Aquarius.
that's
So.
what you had. Yeah. That's one hell of a haul. And then Ira Saunders says, I'm Capricorn and beginning the process of remodeling and fixing up a home. But it's also really weird that you said that because I'm trying to change my diet.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like these are all the themes. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Aquarius.
Okay, so Aquarius, they already like are kind of the star of the show because they have I mean, obviously Aries is, but these guys have Pluto in their sign now too. So they have a lot going on, Aquarius. But anyway, this eclipse for Aquarius happens to be in the third house. So, you know, way of thinking is definitely being reevaluated. And siblings, cousins, neighbors are going to be a big part of this. Rethinking, also too, they could be like thinking about taking a class, learning a skill. They could be rethinking how they're going to apply a skill. Where might they be stuck? They might be stuck with money. Money might be holding them up right now. Or maybe their sense of self-worth. Maybe they have this new beginning has to relate to their new sense of self-worth. Because if Pluto's in your sign, you're kind of becoming a whole new person. So you have to change the way you think. You got to change the way that you look at material items, or, you know, your self-esteem has to be right. You know, all these things. So, and, you know, something might be going on with your siblings, cousins, and neighbors. Something maybe karmic. I don't know. But, you know, it's kind of around this whole idea of self-worth, you know, your material items, and how you earn money. What are you getting?
I am getting that there's some kind of a major move happening here, possibly even with like residencies. This could be like switching from one job to another where like the location is going to be completely different. It could also be like residency. For a lot of you, it also feels like a reincarnation. And that was really interesting because it's almost like a reincarnation of yourself, but without all the dramatics. It's just almost like you wake up one day and you're sort of somebody else.
Yeah.
You're wanting to do something totally different with your work. You're wanting to venture out into different avenues. It even feels like it may change relationship dynamics, you know, like coming closer together with certain people and then like really just sort of leaving behind other things. So it just seems like pretty big. There's also this sense of detachment and being numb, and how that leads to your freedom. So if you've been feeling like I need to just not think about this, or I need to just not try to control this, or I just need to like let go, let God, let go, let the universe, whatever it is. It's almost like that's how you figure out more about what you're supposed to be doing. And then there was this image of you after you figure that out, sort of being on the beach. And as the waves come and as the waves go, you know which ones you're supposed to be working with. You know which ones you're supposed to ride and which ones you're supposed to take. And it's almost like from here on forward, you may be living your life more on those terms. You know, if the universe is really showing you to go this way, you don't really question it anymore. It's almost like I learned how to turn my brain off. I've mastered that skill of not going by my emotion, not going by my logic, but rather going by my intuition. And that's where I'm going to go. And it's incredibly profitable for you if you choose to do this.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, like this can relate to like even buying a new car. So I don't know, do with that with what you will. Maybe you don't have the money quite yet, but you're doing it. Because like, you know, third house is like commuting, like you said, traveling. You said traveling, right? Like moving around.
Yeah, move. I said move and movement. Yeah.
Movement, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting. They'll have to stay tuned for our Jupiter Uranus show because there's more on that.
Yeah, I have to say, out of everyone we've read tonight, that one seems like the weirdest. and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
because it's Aquarius, but like it
I
just
think they have
seems
so much
like
going on.
really kind of spacey. You know what I mean? Like just sort of like that's higher dimension stuff. I mean, living that way, like
Aquarius is definitely need a level up for sure.
need a
Because,
level up.
yep,
Well, there it is. That'll do it.
they're the aliens of the zodiac.
Right.
And, we're leveling up so that they need to level up too. Um,
Pisces,
Pisces.
last but not least, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we're talking about a new beginning, possibly in the way you make money. So you might be reevaluating, how do I make money? And does it make me feel good about myself? And what do I need to do to make me feel better? This is like the area of self-esteem. This is the area of self-worth. You might be rethinking these things. What drives my self-esteem? Is that okay with me or not? How am I making money? Am I being valued by the way that I make money? Am I being valued at my job? If not, that's going to be tough to keep going with. You're reflecting on rethinking your values, how you make money, or how you feel about yourself. It's just all these things are going to be going kind of through your mind. Money as well, like how you are delegating your money, how you're separating your money out, paying things. Where you might feel stuck is just kind of in your body, or how people are seeing you. Maybe they're not seeing the real you. But I don't know. This is I started a thought there and didn't finish it. But I don't know. Like this is deep psychological stuff. I know some Pisces have been struggling because Saturn's in their sign. It's never any fun when Saturn's in your sign. It's heavy responsibility. It is forcing you to do very hard work. It doesn't feel spiritual at all. And the fact that Pisces is spiritual, this kind of makes their vibration lower because they have to do the earthly work. And when once Saturn's out of your sign, then you won't feel so like low. But right now they're kind of going through a rougher time because they're being made to do things that they probably would rather not do. But it is all going to pay off once Saturn is out of your sign. And then Saturn will move into your self-esteem. So there'll be, work there to do too. But there's a new beginning here. Really pay attention, Pisces, because you're going to be getting messages from spirit.
Very cool. Okay, so I'm gonna give my reading here on Pisces, and then we're gonna take any other questions or comments that you guys have. So if you haven't already posted, you need to post here on YouTube at Ask Ivy because I'm producing today, and so I'm only looking at this field. And cats are going bonkers. All right, so what did I get for Pisces? I got essentially I'm hearing your thoughts, and so you were saying, or your higher mind will be saying during this time, who do I want in the kitchen with me, and who do I want in my bed, and what am I doing in my bed? So I don't think this is like dirty and sexual as much as it is subconscious thinking, habits, breaking old habits, self-esteem, like Christina said. These are the things that go on in the bed. The bedroom is symbolic. It's a time of recuperation. It's your sacred space. It's where you heal, especially any thoughts, problems that you have during your waking hours that you haven't been able to resolve. And if you have someone in your bed, for example, that is toxic, is blocking up the energy, snores, I don't know what. I mean, I even when I've been in relationships, no one sleeps in the bed with me. I don't even let my cats in there with me once I doze off. I wouldn't let a gerbil be in the bedroom with me. But the thing is, when you don't protect that space, meaning, your subconscious, your sacred rest time, sexually, okay, like your bed, your bedroom, you may have to examine who's in there and whether or not it's doing damage to you, and what you want to do with your ability to process things. Sometimes we realize, wow, I'm doing the best that I can to process my thoughts and my life and my feelings while I'm awake, but it's just not enough. And so now I'm having stress dreaming, or I'm having block dreaming. I'm trying to do a lot at night. I'm even using lucid dreaming techniques, but it feels like even that's not enough. Throw some money at the problem and get a therapist. Okay, there are professionals who can help you to process things when it gets to that point if you need to. But I really like this idea of you asking originally, who do I want in the kitchen with me? And that has everything to do with what you feed your soul, what you feed in conversation, what you feed your emotional state, your time, attention, energy, affection, your mental well-being. Okay, so what are you consuming? And again, it breaks down to a lot of relationships. And I just want to say this too. It's not always about our relationship to other people. Okay, it could be our relationship to our lifestyle, to our job, to ourselves. You have to look at relationship dynamics. What's your relationship to money? But it could also quite literally be food. Any health changes will just sort of like almost happen, like it's pushed to the forefront. You really can't deny it. You have no desire to deny it. You want to deal with it.
Yeah, that makes sense with Saturn in the first house too. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the bed thing too. I think that's probably prominent. Like almost like you're getting rid of, and that's where the eclipse was Monday, was in that house, like with the bed, like you're saying. And then like this one is in the self-esteem. So it's almost like, well, reflect on what happened last week. And then when the eclipse comes, kind of think about how is that the kind of value you want? You know what I mean? Like something's off there with how you feel about yourself and who's in, like you said, the bed.
So in a way, you would say that this is sort of a general theme for everyone.
Yeah, it could be. If it's not that for Pisces, then it might have to do with the way that they are making their money, and maybe they're just spending it. You know what I mean? So maybe they need to think about, how their money is working for them too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. We have our Johns wants to know, did you do Cancer already? Yes. For those of you who tuned in a little bit later, if you were on TikTok and you got bumped, sorry about that. I always say it's going to happen, and it just does regularly lately. But any signs, because we're done, we just finished up with Pisces. If you missed it, this will be published. So it'll go up on my Facebook channels and Instagram directly after, but YouTube usually takes about 24 hours. So you can go back and watch the replay. And Sapphire said, yay, Aquarius. Yeah, just a lot of good feedback here. Okay, if we don't have any other questions or comments, Christina, any final word?
Yeah, try to relax around the eclipse. Go somewhere where you're safe. And, well, I mean, here in Buffalo, we have to be mindful of the traffic and everything. But, just internalize, what is going on. Make space for it, I guess. Make space for that new beginning, because it's going to be a potent one.
So my final word would be enjoy the push. Enjoy when the universe steps in and just says like, here we go. It's like a big wave coming in, whoosh, and we're just going to create some movement here. Even though it can make you feel, because we are all psychic, whether we know it or not, whether we believe it or not, whether you're a skeptic or not, we are all psychic, and we are all reading the energy. So instead of allowing yourself to just feel like nervous and like you don't know what's going on with all of this energy coming in and the collective acting sort of nutty about the whole thing, try to instead just see it as a point of change, a turning point, and allow yourself to embrace whatever's coming. I would also encourage everyone to just, take even like 5 to 10 minutes and just be introspective, go inside yourself and say, what would be for my highest and best good right now to allow in and to really move with and be in the flow of, because my feeling is that right now, with everything feeling like start, stop, stuck, it's going to be quite powerful. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that, if you are aware of spirit that realm exists for you. But if you ignore it, it's not going, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be conscious for you. So it's really important to take that time and just sit and reflect. And like we said, that it doesn't necessarily, nothing really starts that day. It's more the space and then the mental space for it too. And then it comes in as we go. But people do get very hyped, and a lot of things happen around an eclipse, a lot of events that's always in the news, but it's just an eclipse.
Well, and I think that's a really important point that you make there, because sometimes there are planetary movements. We talk about a lot of them where it's like the day that thing hits, oh my God, it is like so much activity that exact day, right? Or you
Right.
can feel it coming in like 2 weeks prior. It's like all this stuff. But yeah, when we're talking about an eclipse, we're talking about like a process, so it's not just like that day.
A shift,
A
but a
shift.
necessary one. And remember, like eclipses shift us into a part where we're supposed to be,
Right.
into a part of our life where we're supposed to be, so we don't stay too long in one area.
We need it.
Oh, and we should remind them that we have that Jupiter Uranus great conjunction show.
We have coming up for Roots Revival Interfaith, our next church service. We're going to be talking about, I believe that's April 14th.
Yes.
So we'll be back. Christina and I will be back here. I'll be back several times before that doing other live shows that I do, but we'll be back talking about what is it? What conjunction?
So Jupiter, Uranus are going to join in the sky in Taurus. It's been a really long time since they've done that, and it's really kind of promising a breakthrough for everybody. It's kind of a level up. So kind of want to talk about that. We'll do that on April 14th.
Yep, April 14th.
We'll
Now
go
that
sign
show,
by sign.
yeah, that's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern back here on all these platforms. So Jupiter, Uranus, breakthrough. What does it mean for your sign? Christine and I will be back with Roots Revival Interfaith. And Cody said thank you. Bethany said thank you, friends. Enjoying the push here in Tacoma, Washington, I believe that is. All right, awesome. So we'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Spirit. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks.